Well, everyone went along with it, and it was like an how can I put it? It was like we were thrust into an alternative reality by all of the elements that the Democratic Party commanded, including Bernie, which is sort of the Democratic Party's left flank that protects it from real leftism, like leftist anti-war resistance and anti-imperialism. But Hollywood was a big part of this.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman was brought in, formerly the voice of God, commissioned by neocons, Bill Kristol, and Rob Reiner was a big figure in pushing Russiagate. They had what the committee to investigate Russiagate or something, like it was one of these neocon committees, but it was fronted by Hollywood figures. And Morgan Freeman, who I think had suffered a heavy lawsuit for sexually harassing his like daughter-in-law or something bizarre like that. And then Hollywood cooked up this Comey rule. Do you remember that?
Comey, yeah. Like
they basically made James Comey, who is one of the biggest frauds in all of this, into a hero and made a Hollywood style production about him based around the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier was a script for like a Hollywood style blockbuster film. And almost every scene in this film was a fabrication, a complete lie, but it was, a drama for MSNBC liberals, so they could actually, it's sort of like how the West Wing gave them a parallel Democratic Party Aaron Sorkin presidency when George W. Bush was president, so they could live that fantasy without actually like doing anything meaningful against Bush or the Iraq War. Like just, this is what they were given.
His entry into politics. They traded favors with him. They hated his.
So this is a briefing. I think this might be Pete Strzok supposedly giving a briefing to the FBI at the beginning of Crossfire Hurricane.
His universe pageant. They offered their help in future Trump real estate deals within Russia, including a Trump tower in Moscow. And granted him access to hundreds of millions in loans from banks controlled by the Russian oligarchy, just as U.S. banks have declared Trump to be.
That's Jeff Daniels. Who is playing
he's playing
McCabe, I think.
I think he's playing Comey, is he not?
Yeah, he might be Comey. He doesn't look like Comey.
Unworthy credit risk.
Like, my daughter is about to let P. Diddy get off scot-free. I'm so proud.
It was a years-long effort to recruit and maintain Trump as an asset of the FSB with the long-term goal of getting him to sow discord and disunity within the U.S. The dossier further asserts that since last year, the Trump campaign has, quote, accepted a regular flow of intelligence from the Kremlin on his political rivals. Again, we have not corroborated any of this independently, and it should be noted that the original financier of the dossier was a Republican, never Trumper. The funds to finish the dossier then came from the Democrats.
They had to kind of throw that in there to avoid a Trump lawsuit, maybe.
Go on. The dossier holds that the FSB's main leverage over Trump is likely blackmail, made possible because the Russians had videos of Trump engaging in, quote, perverted sexual acts when he stayed in the presidential suite of Moscow's Ritz-Carlton Hotel in 2013, specifically a, quote, golden showers show.
So those two actors are going to urinate on Donald Trump's yellow hair. And, they're actually dramatizing as far as they can the phony P tape.
I'm sorry. What does that mean? It means they defiled a bed that Barack and Michelle Obama slept in during a state visit by urinating on it. Sir. I see. Again, the Bureau has not yet been able to independently corroborate the claim or any of the conclusions here, but given what we now know of Trump's complicated financial ties to Russian banks, his loans from known oligarchs,
which also turned out to be fake, right?
Everything was fake. The only known tie basically was that Trump at one point signed a letter of intent to build the Trump Tower in Moscow but it got nowhere because he couldn't get financing, and he didn't even know who to call in the Kremlin. That's pretty much the extent of it. And like one of Trump's sons said that, yeah, we have a lot of Russians buying our properties. Okay, okay, great. But again, it sounds so silly now, but this was all they could talk about on corporate TV. And again, you turn into alternative media too. My old home, Democracy Now. Everybody fell for it. This was right here the prevailing consensus. Like Michelle Goldberg of the New York Times, like, you know, kind of progressive columnist. I remember her saying, she wrote an article saying that we need to have a national conversation about whether the P tape is real. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And Jonathan Chait of New York Magazine, I think now he's at the Atlantic, he said, I'm a P-lever. But he meant that. Like, he was pushing the idea that Trump had been compromised, had been a Russian intelligence asset since 1987. So this was like a zombie movie where everybody got bit with the disease. And those of us who didn't, and I know it's, you know, that's the Grayzone audience too, so you all can relate. This was like living in a zombie movie.
His ongoing attempt to get that tower built in Moscow, the dossier does provide a plausible, if alarming, working theory. Russia has compromised Trump.
Oh my God!
Wow.
And he so compromised that he gave Ukraine offensive weaponry like around a few days after that film came out.